You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's Thursday morning. It's early. It's not bright. The days are getting longer, and I had someone correct me the other day saying the days aren't getting longer. Let me put it this way. The daylight is now getting longer than darkness. Maybe just by a few seconds, but it is getting longer, and that tells me in the bee world that when the bees notice the days are getting longer, then all of a sudden the queen gets the message that, hey, spring's right around the corner. You need to start preparing for that. So start laying more eggs. So as a beekeeper, we get all excited when December 21st comes and goes, and then everything gets better after that. But this show is recorded, and it will be played on Thursday morning after Christmas. So that gives you an idea. We're doing this show because we're going on a holiday. We'll be gone next week during the week of Christmas. But I've got Rob Lapham calling all the way from Port St. Joe, not Mexico Beach, but he can see Mexico Beach from his rooftop. But how are we doing this morning, Rob?
Just great, James. How are you?
I am doing well. My wife and I had a wonderful week going to council meetings and commission meetings and seeing how we can make government a little smaller. And what we found out is all it takes is audience participation to keep government smaller. And
that's wonderful. And of course, we have to keep working at it because just a few meetings don't do it.
No, this is an ongoing thing that, it's amazing if you get people involved in the community. We found out, elected officials sometimes forget what their role is, and you have to kind of remind them it's not your job to go in competition with real estate companies or in other private sectors. It's your job to make sure the rule of law is applied equally to all citizens. And once you remind them of that, they remember real quickly what their job is, and it's kind of refreshing. It really is. And so tell me what's going on down in your part of the world.
Well, not a lot. We're getting ready for Christmas, of course, and you did mention this program. There's a 1 week delay this time. But and I'm headed for Leesburg tomorrow to pick up my brother, who is in a assisted living facility there, so we'll have him with us over Christmas. Good. And I was in pretty good mood until a short time ago, and I opened Facebook. And I looked at one of the groups there, and this guy who does a fair amount of post-libertarian-oriented posting. Okay. He says this morning, I'm thrilled to publicly endorse my longtime friend Nota.
None of the above.
In the LPFEC, and that's, of course, none of the above.
Oh, boy.
It is my fond hope that you will consider all of the great things Nota has accomplished for our party and consider giving it your vote in 2017.
Oh, boy.
And I looked at that, and there's 3 or 4 smileys below it. People sort of think, oh, that's funny. And I don't get it. I'm sort of thinking, good Lord, I hope that nobody seriously considers that the Libertarian Party of Florida Executive Committee should be weakened by, and maybe there's some good reason behind the thought that maybe none of the candidates for a particular executive committee position are qualified or are the right people for the job. But it's a blanket statement saying for 2017 he's apparently going to vote Nota. I don't get that.
I have no idea.
Well, I don't know who it was. I haven't opened Facebook up, but I will tell you this, Rob. I have found that the Libertarian Party has some people that think way outside the box, and near as I can tell, this is probably just humorous. He thinks or she thinks. But I wouldn't be so concerned about it. I really wouldn't.
Well, that when I see statements like that, I put that right on the same credibility as the flat earthers out there. I'm sorry, I have a real hard time grasping the concept the world is flat. I'm in case people are listening to this and have, what you talking about, there are actually people on Facebook that are actually advocating, and Rob will verify this as long as my wife, that the world is flat. Am I correct, Rob?
Well, it's actually their perception
that's their
of the world.
Well, I don't know.
Their perception is the world is flat. Okay, I get that, but
these are the same people that say the executive committee is none of the above. And I will tell you this: if it wasn't for the person we have as chair, who stepped up, who was secretary back in 2015, when we had the great division that happened, and we came so close in the state of Florida to not having a Libertarian Party. If it wasn't for Char-Lez Char-Lez Braden stepping up and taking the helm over and guiding this ship, the executive, the LPF, through these turbulent waters, there would be no LPF as we know it, Libertarian Party of Florida. So I want to let people know that say none of the above. I'm going, you really need to rethink your statement, because he spent lots of time, lots of effort, lots of his own personal money to ensure that we kept this party together. Matter of fact, it was just me and him on the executive committee back in 2015 when all this came down. And of course, as treasurer, I wasn't about to resign. I said, no, we have to have a treasurer and we have to have a chair. And then in 5 days, we had to have a secretary and we had to have a vice chair. And we appointed them. We got them in position. Then we elected them, made sure everything's right. And now we got a convention coming up. When is the convention? In May? I think it's in May. We're going in Cocoa Beach.
I remember Cocoa Beach. Yep. I don't remember the date.
I think
it's the 5th through the 7th.
5th through the 7th of May.
Okay. Right.
And it's going to be in Cocoa Beach. So I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I want Char-Lez Braden. I'm supporting Char-Lez Braden. Of course, that's the status quo.
Yeah, until he pulls out the remainder of his hair, I say if he wants it, let's go for it.
He ain't got any hair.
He's got facial hair.
He's got more hair on his face than he does on top of his head. And I say that out of love, Char-Lez. I'm not picking on you, but being the chair of, I've had someone compare being the chair of a Libertarian Party is the job of herding cats. It can be equivalent. It could be equivocated to that, and sometimes I think any political party it's that way, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Green Party, because everybody likes to go their own separate way.
Absolutely, and that's part of what is nice about the Libertarian Party. We don't ostracize people because they want their opinion made. So,
well, we have done that in the past, and people, get shot.
Yeah, that's what caused the division in the party.
That's exactly
was someone wanting to alienate someone else.
And it's like picking the winners and losers, and we talk about that all the time. And that's one of the, Rob, that's one of the things you and I've talked about as the proper role of government is not to pick the winners and losers in business. We're seeing free market enterprise, the free market work a lot better, in my opinion, and a lot of people a lot smarter than I am, against government-operated or subsidized programs. We have an ambulance service that is, if I'm not mistaken, is subsidized in part by the Bay County Commission, by tax dollars. And we are now having a private company coming into Bay County to compete with them. And I think that's a wonderful thing to happen. I think competition breeds success. In my opinion, I wish every auto repair shop in Bay County was on 11th Street. All the way down 11th Street, there'd be an auto repair shop on every corner. Because why is that? Because, well, where does your wife go buy shoes? She goes to the mall, or she goes to Pier Park, or she goes where there's an assortment of shoe stores. Well, that way she has a choice. Well, it's the same thing about auto repair. When people have a choice, it brings down prices. It makes things more competitive. If Joe Blow over there charging $100 for this, and Sam across the street's charging $90 for this, and there may be some competition there that benefit the consumer, and that's how the free market works. And I think that's
competition is always good. It
is
impossible, I think, to make a case against competition, unless there's some. I suppose some folks in power, or folks who believe they have power for their own narrow interests, might try to squish competition. We're talking monopoly.
Yes, we are.
And government does too much of that, of course. And frankly, even at the state and county level, when you look at, for example, licensing restrictions or tests for so many jobs, I think if you want to cut somebody's hair, you have to get a license. What a pile of baloney. And when we remember, even in Bay County, just in the last month, the discussion on the Uber, Lyft, and so forth, competition to taxi drivers and all the regulations that taxi drivers have to put up with. It sure does not serve the public.
And like I tell people say, well, it's the taxis charge so much. And I go, the taxis charge so much is because the government charges the taxis so much to be in business. I said, they're just passing on the cost to you. So if you want to blame anybody, blame your county commissioners, blame your city government. Tell them because they've overregulated, that's how they have to stay in business to keep their doors open. And Uber comes along and everybody says, well, they need to have the same regulations as the taxis. No, I told the taxi company, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it even better for you. We're going to make sure your regulations drop down to where Ubers are. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that means we won't have political favoritism anymore? Well, yeah, you're not going to be paying off your politicians to stay in business. And that way the free market works like it's supposed to. But too many people do not understand that public welfare or corporate welfare is what I call public-private partnerships. And we have them left and right, and we have a Governor Scott that loves economic development. We have it right here, and Bay County has their very own EDA.
So he paid $1 million to Pitbull.
Well, and then it was supposed to be held secret. No one was supposed to know about it.
Right. Because some of us might not like that
well,
idea.
we have the same thing at Bay County Commission. They were talking about yesterday. We wanted to know what the details were on the ambulance service. Well, that's proprietary. That's secret. We can't discuss that. And I'm sitting there going, there's got to be something wrong with this.
So you're telling me the county's subsidizing an ambulance company?
Well, the county has an ambulance company. They do have one.
Well, I thought they did.
They do have one, and I think they're maybe I don't know all the details. Only thing I know is that I don't like tax money being spent on independent private businesses. When you have private and public businesses merged together, that's a form of fascism. And I didn't say that. Benito Mussolini said that's the perfect blend of fascism. Not me. Perfect blend of corporate and and public partnership together. That is fascism, and it's a perfect blending.
There's certainly no excuse for the county government withholding information on subsidies. I mean, this is hardly a national security issue or anything that could be reasonably justified. I just cannot imagine.
Well, it's not on subsidies. It was on what they wanted to bring to Bay County, what they were offering. They didn't want to bring that out, and I'm going, okay, we'll talk about this later when all this is said and done. But I am amazed that there are certain things that seem proprietary that they're not allowed to talk about. They've got, right now, the EDA, we've got about 2 minutes left, Economic Development Alliance has 3 or 4 projects that they can't, they've got code names for them, Operation Fishhook or whatever, I don't know, they got all sorts of weird names, but they won't discuss the details because they're trying to bring them into Bay County. Well, so far they've tried, over the last 16 years, they've brought in 16 companies at the tune of millions and millions of dollars, and only 3 of them have survived. So they have an 87% failure rate, and they want us to keep doing that over and over again. And Rob, you and I think that's a little crazy. They shouldn't be wasting our tax money like that. What do you think?
For sure, there's no good cause for it. I think some officials are on a power trip. Is all I can think.
They're nice guys. They really are. When you get them one-on-one, they're really, really nice guys. But sometimes when they sit behind that podium and they have the power to cast a yay or nay vote, and you have to remind them, that's why audiences need to be there. That's the thing. They will not say things that the audience won't like. I found that out if you're there in the audience. But once people leave, I was amazed at the closing statements at the county commission meeting. There were only, I think, a handful of people there after all the important things. And that's where in the last 10 minutes, that's where everything took place. The last 10 minutes of a meeting after everybody had left, I went, holy moly, look at this. It's incredible. But anyway, we're having lots of fun doing this. Rob, I look forward to seeing you for the holidays, if I possibly can. If you're coming this way, I think we have a jar of honey for you and your wife. We do. We have one just especially made, a big jar, because I know you like that as well. Give my best to your wife, and y'all have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you next year, because we're not going to be talking to you next week because we're on vacation, okay?
Have a wonderful Christmas, James and Anna Marie, and we'll talk to you in the new year.
All right, sounds good. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.